Welcome back to the Bhava live stream with me, Ingrid Turner, and my beautiful co-host, Lynda Mullen, and our fabulous and amazing guest, Miss Heather Foster. Hi, sweethearts.
Hi.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Real quick, just some housekeeping. Hi, I'm Ingrid Turner. I'm the founder of the Bhava Spiritual Mission. We are a digital church, and our mission is to help you move from fear to love. It is to help you live in partnership with spirit, and we do that a number of different ways. We go live with events like this. We're just now running our 30-day psychic development program, which Lynda and I are co-teaching, and you can still get in today. After today, the doors closed, and the link is in the description of the video. It's $17 to join us for the month. It's going to be so much fun. And it's already so much fun. The group is active.
Very active. It's awesome.
It's having a great time. So join in and get a taste of what it's like in the inside working of Bhava, which Heather also knows all about because she is one of our early grads from the Bhava certification and ministerial program. So she's one of our ordained ministers at the Bhava Spiritual Mission. And what a gift you are, beautiful Heather. So if you want to learn more about us, check out the Bhava Spiritual Mission and our organization. And we're going to have some really cool topics today. And first, we're going to do a little intro. So I gave you guys a little bit of Lynda, will you introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Lynda. I have been with Bhava since about 2018. I started in a mediumship class and then eventually went into the certification program. And I've been helping Ingrid with teaching classes and that kind of thing for the last, 6 months or so, maybe more. And it's been fun. I've been a mentor and it's been lots of fun. And I'm happy to see Heather today because we haven't seen her face for a long, long time.
Beautiful Heather. Heather, why don't you introduce yourself, babe?
Okay, so I am Heather Foster. I am also part of the Bhava Spiritual Ministry. And I've been with Ingrid, I think, right before Lynda. So she's 2018, it was just a little bit before that. And it's just been a good adventure. I met Ingrid through a psychic booth that she was at in Nevada City in California. And I kept circling the booth over and over again. And I kept getting drawn back to Ingrid. And I'm thankful that I stopped. So I have basically been a dreamer since I was a little girl, which is going to be part of the topic today, which is exciting. And, I think that's the biggest thing with Bhava is trying to figure out what your gifts are. And Ingrid's really good at honing in the gifts that you have and just bringing them out and helping you mold them in the way that best fits you. So in a nutshell, that's part of my spiritual mediumship gifts.
Beautiful. Yeah. And just a part of it. Yeah. But your dreams are out of this world and prophetic. Right? That's so wild about. So I have had one or two like prophetic dreams in my life, like you, but you have them like a lot. You have them consistently. And you had, your dreams predicted COVID, right? I mean, you saw it coming.
Yes.
And you're very deep into the symbolism of that as well. Lynda, curious, what is your experience with dreams overall? Is that one of your strong gifting sets or an occasional one?
No.
Yeah.
I do dream, but they're very weird and crazy and they don't often make a lot of sense. So, and then I go through periods where I don't dream at all. So
yeah. I find like I can very much discern whether a dream is just like my subconscious processing and it's just kind of like that weird, like doesn't make any sense. Okay, whatever. Versus either a visitation. So mediumship is really strong through dreams, can be for me, very strong through dreams, or the prophetic dreams, right? The clairvoyant dreams, which are more strong for you, Heather.
Yes.
And they got a very different feel to it. It's one of the most popular topics on my freaking TikTok account. When I talk about dreams, people go bananas because I think that the reason, like people who are really psychic and they don't use it in their waking life or they suppress it, it shows up even more strongly in their dreams.
Yeah.
Would you say that's true?
Yes. Yeah. And I would say one of the things that I did when I was little, and this is common in dreamers, is like you're kind of scared because you'll wake up and you'll feel someone in the room, like they're actually there. And I actually had my grandpa visit me and I was like, I knew it was him. So you learn to just be like, okay, grandpa, I know it's you. But, when you're little, if you don't have someone that sort of helps you with that feeling like you're not crazy, like I had my mom and dad who were very spiritual and they were like, oh no, just say hi to him, and he visited each of us that night. Like it was right after he had died. And He visited, and we all woke up at 3 a.m, and literally my mom was like, "Hey, are you awake?" "Yeah, I'm awake." "Hey, are you awake?" "Yeah." Grandpa just visited us all. Like, we all like knew, and because of being in that family that we talked about it openly, we could all feel him move from room to room and then leave. And I think, like, as a little girl, like, it kind of scared me, some of those spirits that would visit. So I actually asked them to please just visit me in my dreams, because it was scary to feel them when you're actually awake. And I think as you get older and you kind of accept it more, and it's not as scary. So I'm okay with it, where I'm like, okay, like, I know you're there, you know.
Yeah.
But that's why some people will move them. It's set an intention to move them to the dreams, and you don't even realize it until later in life.
Yeah. It's like part
Yeah.
of the suppression, right? Where it's like,
Yeah.
okay, you need to go to my dream world, right?
Yeah.
Unconsciously suppressing it. Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the things I say is, like, if you have those really vivid dreams, you know, that are like real life, that's a definite sign of clairvoyance, that you're just not, that you're suppressing in your waking.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
I have a family member who dreams prophetically, and he's always afraid to dream because he's like, they always come true, and I don't want, I just, so hasn't quite embraced any
Yeah.
psychic stuff anyway. So I think that's
Yeah.
how it
It can be
comes to
scary.
him. And so he quite often was like, I hate dreaming. I hate dreaming.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes when people have the gift of like prophetic dreams, I think it's really hard for people who can predict people's deaths, you know, or like negative things that are going to happen. I think you have some of that, Heather.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What is that like? How did you come to terms with that? How do you cope with that when you know something's going to happen and maybe you can't stop it?
I learned at a young age to embrace something that I can't control, and to try and flow with it as much as I can. So the first time that it was actually real was my grandpa, and I was 14 or 15 years old. And 3 days before, I had a dream of him in a body bag, which was,
God.
Oh my
it
God.
was like, I mean, spirit was coming in strong because I was so young. And it's like,
Yeah.
looking back, you can't have too much symbolism when you're that young. So spirit was like, this is coming, you know, it's going to happen. And so I was like, I was kind of scared at first, where I was like, what the heck happened? And 3 dreams in a row, which this is what happens with me with prophetic dreams, is it's typically 3 in a row. So I had 3 dreams in a row, like each night back to back, of something with him where he was going to die. And so finally, by the 3rd dream, I came to terms with it without knowing that it was actually going to happen. I was like, okay, something's getting ready to happen. That's how I looked at it. It's like, something's getting ready to happen, and I don't know what, and I don't know if it's literal or not. Because sometimes spirit can be literal, and sometimes spirit can be symbolic. And it's hard to differentiate the timeline on when it's going to happen and how it's going to happen until you're fully in sync with your body and the stars all align, and you get that deja vu, like tingly in the body feeling, and you're like, okay, this is the moment that I had the dream of 3 times in a row. So I was in the truck with my dad, and my grandpa had a heart attack, and we were coming back from school, and he goes, your grandpa had a heart attack. And I looked at him and I was like, I know, which is so weird for a 14, 15-year-old to say, right?
Yeah.
But I knew that day. And as soon as it came out of his mouth, all the stars aligned, and I was like, I know. Like, and he's like, how did you know? And I said, I had a dream 3 times. And he's like, oh. And to him, that made sense, because my mom has always had 3 dreams.
Oh,
okay.
wow. Okay.
So to him, he was like, oh, but it didn't all like really kind of pile on until that exact moment when I was like, I know. And you're like, how did I know? How did I know? Like, finally, it all made sense, right? But it was kind of like, I had that moment of, yes, it was devastating. I couldn't believe that he was gone, but it actually was a healing moment for me, because I was warned ahead of time.
Wow. So for you, it works to get that warning. It didn't panic you, right?
No.
Or make you feel like you should have done something to stop it.
Yeah. And so I learned where I'm like, there's also warnings ahead of the dreams. So ahead of the dreams, you'll have an overwhelming feeling in my body of sadness. And I've talked to people where they get this, but you get this doomsday feeling, like something bad is getting ready to happen. And there's people that are hypochondriacs that kind of overdo that, right?
Yeah.
Right. But if you are actually honed in on your gift, and you're like, something's wrong. And so a lot of the people in my family, like nieces, nephews, husband, they all have learned to listen to me when I'm like, something's wrong. Like, something is definitely coming.
Yeah. I want to hone in on that a little bit, because you said something that's really, really important. You said that people overdo it on the doomsday. right?
Yes.
They don't know how to tell the difference between their intuition and their fear. Talk
Mhm.
about your process for discerning that, sifting
Yes.
and going through that.
So this is kind of, I've learned to sort of sift out the dreams and also the feelings. So there's different kinds of dreams that you have. There's dreams where you're like, maybe you ate too much sugar the night before, right? And your mind's going crazy and you're like, I had a dream of an elf on a freaking elephant in the middle of, and you're like, that made absolutely no sense, right? And you're like, so you can feel it in your body. So one of the things, Ingrid, that you taught me is, you feel it in your body. Where are you feeling this in your body? So all of your senses sort of start to light up of like, this is telling me something, right? And you get the tingly feelings like this is actually telling me something, but there's symbolism in the dream. So spirit's very loud. If there is something that all of your, ancestors, spirit guides, whatever, are trying to tell you, God, whatever you want to call it, there's going to be numerology where it's like 3 days in a row you have something. There's actually going to be numerology when you wake up. So when you wake up from your dream and you look at the clock, usually it'll be like 1, 2, 3 or 3, 2, 1 or 3, 3, 3 or 4. There's like numbers there. So what I've learned to do is, one, as soon as I wake up, I will like think of all the things that I just dreamed about, write them down. If it's like alerting me, is it a hell yes or a hell no? Right.
Mhm.
That's what you always said to us, Ingrid, with Bhava, is it a hell yes or a hell no on the feeling in your body of something's you're getting a sign. So there's numerology, there's very specific things like water, fire. There's very biblical things in your dreams that's actually pointing to you to signs and symbolism. So I've learned to write all those things down since I was little. My mom would always say, have a dream journal, right next to the side of your bed.
Wow.
Even if you're in a foggy phase and you're like, oh my gosh, I'm only half awake, write down 3 things that you remember that'll signal you on what that dream is about. Okay, there was water in it. Was it clear? Could I see down to the bottom? Was I falling? Who was in it? You're writing down all those little things. And that's how you know it's prophetic. Because if it's just a dream where you're like, no, that just was weird. I had too much sugar the night before. Like, that makes no sense. You can still write it down if you're like, well, maybe it'll make sense later. Sure. Like, but there's usually a feeling in your whole entire body that it's going to mean something. And it's not just like crazy hypochondriac, every day is doomsday kind of a feeling. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And then like taking it a step further, just like in your own intuition, I want to know, like, how do you tell the difference with an intuitive hit, just in general, in dreams, but also just in general, when you're channeling or feeling into it, whether it's your fear and ego speaking or or whether it's your intuition? Like, do you have a tell where you kind of know right away? And what does that feel like?
Yeah, I would say the biggest thing that helps me weigh it out is my heart. So I always go to my heart center too. Like,
Yeah.
that getting out of fear and moving into the faith thing of like, I've had couple dreams lately where I've woken up and I'm terrified about something I had a dream about. And I'm like, oh, okay, no, that was just a fear thing. You can actually feel it's just a fear thing. You have to sift through it a little bit.
Yeah.
But specifically with prophetic dreams, like with COVID, it was a month or 2 before COVID happened. There was water in it. So there's usually water or fire for me. So fire is usually cleansing in the Bible. Water is usually something's going to happen. It's like a test. So water's a sign. And then, am I moving to the left in the water? Like, am I swaying with it? Like, before COVID, I had this dream that I was on this mountainside and I had family with me and the water was coming in. And so I had to jump off and go I went to the left and the family went to the right. Essentially, we were being separated, which was like
exactly what happened.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
And then I'm like, so what does left mean? And this is where you could come in, Ingrid, because your gift's on that too. It's like, okay, so I went to the left and they went to the right. What does that mean? Usually it's like feminine, masculine, or there's like an actual specific meaning behind it. So then I went to the left and the water was clear and I was laying on my back. And as I was going by, there were people hanging onto stumps. There were people like off to the side of the mountain. There was a girl I went to school with that she was up on the hillside with her family and she was terrified. And she was like, don't come near me. Like, essentially like COVID, there was a lot of people that were like, stay away from me.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I was like, something big is getting ready to happen. That's all I knew was there was this feeling of and I didn't know what it was. I was like, I had no idea. So I had told my husband, I told my family, and I wrote everything down and I'm like, something's going to happen, but I don't know what it is. So that was it. And while a lot of people could be like, well, how did you know? Like, how did you know that was COVID? It was like, as soon as COVID hit and the family started to divide, I knew.
Wow. There was so much division, and your dream really picked up on that.
Yeah.
Well, just amongst people too, right? Like we had to separate, we had to isolate. It could be seen as both, right?
Yes.
Totally. It is both, right?
Yeah.
The distancing that we all had to do because of the disease, and also the insane political division that occurred as a result of this pandemic. I mean, it was it was a crazy time.
Yes.
So I have hang on, brain, come back. Please boot up again. So one of the things that I like to talk about with students right at the beginning is start a book of symbolism. Because dream symbolism and intuitive symbolism, whether it's clairvoyant, clairaudient, when those of us who are intuitive symbolically more often than literally, and it can go either way, but if you're symbolically, you actually have to learn your language of spirit.
Yes.
And so you have spent a lifetime, like, exactly what it means when that water comes, because you're like, oh, like, so one of the things we have to do when we're developing our intuition is sometimes we have to get a hit and then we're like, I don't know. And then you have to wait for it to reveal itself. And then you're like, oh, so next time, you know exactly what that means and if you need to take action or not.
Yes.
And then I think that it's really cool that you touched on the fear part as well. I want to come back around to that because I see a lot of people when I'm talking about intuition development, there's a lot of fear.
Yeah.
There's a lot of fear. And it's understandable because we're not taught about this. People don't understand that this is an innate part of being human, right? And it's fine. But people don't know that. And one of the things that I think can happen is when people are afraid, like fear is so seductive, and so people mistake their intuition for their fear because fear feels really strong, or big emotions, negative emotions feel really strong. And so we think our fear or our big emotions are an intuitive message, and they're just not.
Yeah.
And never.
Well, it also feels safer to be in the fear, right?
Yeah. It is because
we're so acclimatized to that we're to be in the fear. It feels safer to be there.
Yeah. Oh my God, look at this. Kelsey, one of our alumni, she says, 2013, I told my husband something was coming in 5 to 10 years. That was 7 years later.
Amazing.
Yeah. I was not surprised that you saw that, girl. Yeah. So I just wanted to like circle the conversation back around a little bit because I think this is really important. When you get an intuitive hit, Lynda, like how do you differentiate your fear or emotions from the intuition? How does it feel different to you? And I think it's different for everybody. So I want to
I think when it's fear, I'm in my head.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like the story is going over and over and over in my head. Right. Whereas exactly. So if it's an intuitive hit, then it comes through, and depending on the circumstances, I may not even remember what I say.
Totally.
Same. So then I know it's true. Like that's what it is. I don't know how many times I've been in conversations and then all of a sudden this stuff comes tumbling out of my mouth and I'm like, where'd that come from?
Yeah.
So I think that's when I trust and when I just be, and it just comes. Otherwise I'm stuck in my head going round in
those stories.
Hamster wheel.
For me, when an intuitive hit comes, it's just a fact. Like there's no emotion attached to it. I don't have to prove anything. I don't have to be right. I don't need any validation. It just is what it is. Whereas if I think I know something, but I need to make it known that I know something, like I'm adamant about it, that's me. I'm in the mix, right? That's my fear or my emotions or my ego. When it's just like, it lands with just like, it's the same as like, the sun's out. It's a fact.
Yeah. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
That's a great way of explaining it.
Yeah. And sometimes it can be challenging. Like, I think one of the biggest challenges that I've seen people have with their intuition and trusting it is we are trained to have a story, right, Lynda, to back up or to confirm or analyze our intuitive knowing. And we don't have that ever with your intuition. You never have like a logical basis for it. It's not a head thing.
Yeah. And I think it gets easier. So like the more you become comfortable with what you're seeing and you actually are confident in what you're seeing, and like you said, it feels like fact. Like, it doesn't matter what family group I'm in. I always am like, I had a dream that I need to tell you, like, because I'm so like drawn and on fire to have to tell that person, and it's the right person and it aligns. And I knew, like, there's this whole thing of the spiritual process of someone should ask, but sometimes you get a message that you just have to deliver, right?
Yes. Like there's permission is what we're looking for. There's
Yeah.
energetic permission.
Yes.
And there is like verbal permission,
Mhm.
right? Like, it all boils down to energetic permission, but yes, absolutely.
Yeah. And so I've had times like that where I'm like, okay, so for example, I had my niece, I knew she was going to have a baby and that she was going to have a boy. And this is one of the prophetic sides of my mom I got, and it's kind of like her family. She would have 3 dreams in a row. She'd be able to tell you what, like, it is the weirdest thing, but you're going to have a boy or you're going to have a girl. And it doesn't happen all the time. There's usually reasons behind it. So like for me, she was told when I was a baby, you're going to have a little girl and she's going to be born a month early, but she's going to be okay. That's what Spirit told her. I was born a month early. I was a preemie. I was 5 pounds and I was okay. And I was the healthiest baby that there was in the NICU. So same thing happened to me with my daughter but it was funny because my sister was pregnant at the time. I didn't know I was, going to have a baby. And I'm like, I had this dream and I knew that it was Kaylin. It's like, but this isn't my sister's kid because she's got goldeny blonde hair and she's got big blue eyes and, so I knew it was her. So there's certain things where you kind of have to just feel into it. And it's just like, just trust yourself on it. And so I was telling everyone, I'm like, I had a dream of my soon to be daughter. Like she was 2 or 3 years old and she was coming towards me in a little white dress. So the craziest thing is deja vu, actual moment aligns. And on my nieces and nephews' wedding, here's Kaylin as their wedding girl, their little flower girl in her white dress. And she literally is coming toward me. And I'm like, that's the dream.
Oh
like,
my God.
On point. And I have it on video because she lit up in the sunlight right as she got to me.
Oh,
wow.
So cool. And I was like, that was Kaylin. Yeah. So spirits will come to you too. I know it was her that came to me and I came to my mom.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. I get a lot of mediumship stuff in my dreams. Selena says, that's interesting. This hereditary. Yeah. I think so. Here's my thinking about this. I think every human on the planet has the ability to be psychic intuitive. I don't think everybody is meant to explore it and express it in this time. I think it's a band of souls who are here to master it and then incorporate it into their life and their connection with spirit. That's us. And everybody's gift is different and it's hereditary, the way that it comes through. I got this message early on in my spiritual awakening when I was trying to figure it out. So I had this massive event when my gifts came online. Like in Bhava, we're super grounded. We are so grounded. And then we have like a process where we open up, and bloom into our gifts in a very safe and grounded way. That is not necessarily how it goes for everybody. It is not how it went for me. I blasted open and became completely untethered and had to learn how to ground in again. It took me 2 years to ground back into my body. And that's why, as you know, I'm fanatical about fucking grounding, because it was a waste of time. It wasn't a waste of time in that I used it to teach, but I feel like I was very lucky not to have been medicated, or like, because I was in the full spiritual
or institutionalized.
That's not safe. That's not good. I should not have, I'm so grateful for how it went, because people just came into my life at different times, like kind of grabbed me by the ankles and come on back down to earth, girl. And I'm like, thank you. But anyway, got through that. And then lost my train of thought. I got all excited about something I was going to say. And then I started telling my story and I have not been sleeping very well. Can somebody give me, where was I going with this? What was the first thing?
Spiritual gifts and how yours came later.
Oh yeah. So spiritual gifts. All my gifts came online in a really extreme way. And then because I was trying to explore it and figure them out, right? I didn't have anybody to teach me how to do it. or guide me in the way that we guide people in Bhava. Like we don't really teach you how to do it. We help you find your way.
Yeah.
And I had this vision where this ancestor of mine just came in real quickly and said, "You're the first one in 100 generations to come to this on their own."
Wow.
And then went away. And the message was like, back in many generations ago, in my ancestral line, there was like family training, right? So family members would train each other and help develop those gifts. And I was the first one in many generations where it came online by itself. So I was like, great, which is probably why it was so intense, right? Like it makes sense, like I naturally untether. So, I work hard on that.
It's almost like it's all dumped on you, all the middle generations.
Right.
I mean, we're going to give it all to Ingrid.
Yeah. And I'm not naturally a grounded person. People don't know that about me anymore. But if you knew me 12 years ago, you'd be like, Earth to Ingrid. One of the things that my family used to say about me when I was a little kid is like, Ingrid's out to lunch, because I was just drifting off into like spirit and space. So I had to learn how to ground. So all of our gifts they're different, and everybody's got them. Right. So it's kind of like how I define humility, right? When you truly feel humble, you feel like the most precious, special thing in the world and completely insignificant at the same time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, can we talk about that crazy thing we did in our alumni group? This was insane. I don't know. Like, so in our alumni group, in our advanced groups, we do weird shit, right? So
tried all kinds of stuff. It was fun.
It was so fun. So we did this thing where we're like, we're going to dream for each other.
Yeah.
Right. So we got together in pairs and we set the intention to dream for the other person. And actually, Heather, I had you as my partner. And I remember the first time I went to sleep and I had the intention, and I totally had the dream, and I woke up and I forgot it immediately. I was like, if I try again. But then I remember writing down the dream, and I remember getting a lot of like details. And as soon as you read it, your feedback to me was mind blowing, because you were like, yep. And just like, even the symbolism made sense to you and was like your symbolism.
Yeah.
Not mine. Is that correct? Can you talk a little bit about that? And then I want to hear Lynda's experience too.
Yeah. And that I'm trying to remember. So on mine, I don't remember what we shared back and forth because it was so long ago. Do you remember what I had said to you?
No,
I remember mine for you.
Yeah. And I remember more mine for you, actually.
Okay. So I can go first on mine. And that was the Bewitched song. Do you remember that? That was so crazy. Okay, so I know that you were kind of going through, I don't remember if it was like, if there was something going on with your family.
Yes, it's coming back now.
Yeah, and so I had this dream, and basically, and I don't remember all the details now that we're on the call, but essentially the song for Bewitched came on.
Yeah.
And what I had told you, the message that I was delivering was, you're so powerful, you have to stay grounded in, or the message that you can send can actually unravel someone. And so the song Bewitched came on, and let me see if I can pull it up really quick, because it was, there's this 1950s or 1960s Bewitched. I'll have to place it in the song below, but it was like, bewitched, and it's this whole little song, but it's basically like you're under a spell. So the whole thing was like, Ingrid as a being is very powerful. And if she's not grounded in and she delivers something and it comes out really potent in the wrong direction, it can actually make someone unravel, which you kind of know that. And then the other way, it's like, it's very uplifting, very amazing. And you have this beautiful spiritual gift. So I'll share that after we get off the call. I'll share the lyrics with that.
Yeah, share the lyrics. I want to read it again. It's it's interesting because I don't know that you know this. So in my human design chart, like, I have what's called the left angle cross of the clarion, right? And my primary energy is an energy of shock, right? And so when I communicate, that's exactly what it is. Like, it can be kind of devastating, or it can be awakening, right? Yeah. It just depends on how it goes. And I love the way that you gave the responsibility back to me, because I'm all about radical responsibility. If you know me, it's like, I believe when we are radically responsible, we get to be radically in command of our own life, but not until we're responsible. So the responsibility you just gave back to me is you stay grounded.
Yeah.
You stay grounded, and then you can use that energy as a gift as opposed to a destructive force in your life. And I am very careful with my words, especially when I'm mad. I'm just like, don't let it out. Do not devastate somebody you love just because you're mad at them.
Yes. Yes.
Oh, here we go. Selena just posted the lyrics, and let's see. Bewitched, bewitched, you got me in your soul. You know your craft so well. Before I knew what you were looking at. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's so cool. Thank you, Selena. That's awesome of you.
And the song, like, it's really potent. And I had heard it over and over again because, you know, my mom always had that on in the background when I was a kid, but I never thought of the lyrics. And so to go to that point, music and the clear audio, like audience comes in really strong in dreams, especially for me. Like they're like, I'll hear the song over and over and over and over and over again. And it's spirit's way of like sending that message through where I'll remember it. So then I wake up and by the end of the dream, I'm like, that song Bewitched. That's why it's like, we're sitting here talking and I'm not remembering all the details, but I knew the message and the message was potent. Yes. And the message was like, stay grounded and like, you can go one way or the other if you're not.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you were like, that's so me.
I did. That fits.
Yes.
And then I think for you, you were going through a big change with your family. You had moved, but something was changing with your homestead, if I recall. And I was seeing a garden. I was seeing some vulnerability. I was seeing some shifting happening. And I think that was when you were starting a garden, or you had just started one, or you were about to, or like that was the direction you were going. So like I was picking up, you know, all of these little things, like all the little details.
Well, and even for Nate, I remembered you saying you're like, and I don't remember which, if it was that one or the one before, but you saw Nate building boxes and you saw him actually working with his hands. And I'm like, well, he does tree trimming. You're like, no, it's like carpenter work. Like he's building things. And he has now since built my chicken coop. He's built like shelves in my closet. Like he's like, I love this. This is amazing.
That's great.
Yeah, exactly on point. And it was just funny to see that unravel, like, afterwards. You're like, no, it's coming through. And we both set the intention. The cool thing is to show the play part of the dreaming is that anybody can do it. You just need to set the intention ahead of time. And what we did was Ingrid and I also gave our hearts to each other, where it's like, okay, spirit, like come to us in any way possible. Show us what we need for that person. I'm totally open. And then drink a glass of water and go to sleep, or not. But drinking a glass of water actually helps you retain your memory for your dream by the next day.
I didn't know that. Okay,
good
information.
Drink a glass of water. You might have to get up to pee, but drink a glass of water, and because water holds memory. By the time you wake up the next morning, it'll actually enhance your dreaming ability.
So to add on to that, you could probably put either something on the glass itself or under the glass. To energize it, you know, about remembering the dream. Like I don't know if you guys did this, but I did it where I said, I put the intention, I'm going to remember the dream tonight for the person that I was dreaming for.
Yeah. So, I had to learn that the second night.
Yeah. So it was
the dream and forgot it. Dang it.
Exactly. So so that's I found my notes.
Okay, tell us about that. That's great. Okay, tell us about that experience. What happened?
So it basically we set the intention. I'm going to remember my dreams, and I don't have the first one that I did. It's on my phone, and it was about a business. So I don't, and we exchanged voice notes, so I can't check it right now to remember what was exchanged. But the second one that I did was about an alien coming to visit. And again, I don't have feedback from the person I dreamed for. So I don't I don't know exactly what they took from it. But it was a fun exercise.
It was fun, and we should definitely do it again. I think we definitely will. Nikki, one of our alumni, says, I have a dream spell sachet I keep on my nightstand that helps me with my dreams. Will you please share that in the alumni group, honey? I would be really interested in that. I'd love to do more dream stuff.
That would be fun.
And I love it that she said that, because I've also learned, for the people that like using crystals in their practice, I've done that as well, where I've got like a black crystal and I've got a white crystal, and the white crystal does enhance certain spiritual gifts, like they're different. You kind of know there's different things. It's a tool, it's an intention, right? We all know there's different tools you can use.
Yeah.
But the black one would actually like pull everything out of my busy day in my brain. I would hold it against my third eye and I would literally feel it. I'd set the intention to feel it, to draw out all of the busyness and go into gratitude. So if you sit there before bed and you hold your crystal, and I don't have it right here, but you hold it against your head and ask spirit, please, like, help me put all the stories on a shelf, like really focus into gratitude. Gratitude is a huge tool to then releasing all the toxins, let that black crystal hold it all and pull it out. And I fell asleep with that thing. I was so worried my husband was going to roll over on it in the middle of the night. And
don't maim your husband with the crystal.
I totally would fall asleep with that thing. I'm like, I'm going to injure myself. And somehow it ended up like tucked under my pillow. But yeah, that actually helped, because it would pull out all the negative thoughts that you have that bring you out of sync. And you're sitting there going, what am I thankful for? I'm thankful for, my husband. I'm thankful for my daughter. And you start going into that gratitude thing, and you set the intention of, spirit, if there's any messages that you need to deliver, please deliver them to me. Mm-hmm. If there's not, that's okay. Let it go. Right? It's okay. Yeah. So there's times like that where, sometimes I'll get nothing, or in the case where we actually set a real intention, I get quite a bit of detail. Or if you're just leaving it open all the time to chance of like, okay, is something like COVID coming, is something like big that I need to know, it'll come through. And I try to just leave everything open. It's just easier for me that way, because there's times I'll get a dream that it's like, it doesn't come true until 3 years later, 6 years later. Wow. And so I've at least written it down where I'm like, this is on point, something that's I still have one. I have one sitting on my phone that I am waiting for the answer on. It is driving me absolutely bananas. It will come true. I know it's coming, but it's very symbolic. So we'll see.
Wow. Okay. Well, it will, because yours do, period. It's just fact. Yeah, it will.
It's crazy. And I'm like, okay, it's either something political or it's something bigger for the United States. So I'm waiting on that one. We shall see.
Oh, okay.
We don't know yet.
It's a wild ride for sure.
Yes.
Yeah. So if you want to play around with a friend with dreams, swapping dreaming for other people, it was really simple for us. We just decided, we partnered up, and then we chatted a little the night before. And sometimes you can anchor it with a question, right? Yeah. And you can say, like, this is what I want to know about, and then intuitively dream about it. And then for me, anyway, I had to write it down right away, or I was going to forget it, because dreams are not my strongest suit. This is definitely, but definitely write it down. So set the intention to remember it, and then go to sleep, and then write down all the weird shit. And then remember something to remember: when you're receiving a message for somebody intuitively, whether it's through dreams or not, it probably won't make sense to you, because it's not supposed to. The message is not for you. It's not really your job to interpret messages. It's your job to get out of the way and let it through, and let the other person receive the message and the interpretation. And something that can, go ahead.
No, it's just like when we're bringing any message in, whether it be, mediumship or channeling, you got right?
Like when you're a baby Bhava student and you're like, I don't know why, but I saw popcorn in the dream. And then somebody goes, oh my gosh, I just had this crazy thing with popcorn the other night. And you're like,
right? And you want to ignore those weird little facts that don't make sense. You're like, I don't need to say that. That's not relevant. That's just dumb. Don't. It's those little things.
I have a perfect example.
Tell us.
So my best friend says to me, there's a man coming, Lynda. I've been single for years, right? Over a decade, I was single. She tells me there's a man coming. And I'm like, oh, okay. When's he coming? I don't know. Okay. Do I know him already? She says, yes, you know him already. And I'm like, okay. Do you know what he looks like? She couldn't tell me. That's fine. No, whatever. And then when I meet my husband again, she says to me, I say, oh yeah, I used to ride the GO train with him. And she says, oh, that's where the train was.
Ah.
You couldn't have given me that information. It might have clarified a few things.
Yes.
And also it's like taking that out into, we get our intuitive hits and then we always ignore like the obvious simple shit because we're like, that doesn't fit and like just doesn't fit for you or right now. But taking that out into our spiritual work, right? Mm-hmm. Those of us in Bhava who feel really called to go to spiritual leadership and work with other people, it's the little things that seem innocuous and like just kind of off the cuff that are often the most transformative anchor points for your clients.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The things that I think are like freaking big and mind-blowing are not the big transformative things. Mm-hmm. It's always the weird little, like, oh yeah, by the way. And they're like,
yeah,
you just rocked my world. Like, really? And that's spirit comes through. Like I said, when it's intuition, it's just the facts. We keep expecting our intuitive experiences to be like these big, mind-blowing, like crazy things. And they're not. It's subtle. It's easy. It's love. It's just easy.
Yeah. I think going back to when you were saying like, the fear versus the faith thing and like how you can tell if it's a message from spirit versus being stuck in your mind, like that's a good circle back because there's a lot of dreams that I've had where it's like you just go within yourself. You're contracting instead of expanding, right?
Yeah.
And so if you're actually having a dream that it's actually supposed to be delivered and it's supposed to have a good message, you're not going to know all the meanings behind it, but it's going to actually expand someone. It's actually going to make sense to them.
Yeah. Yes. So let us know if you're going to try the dream swapping. We're definitely going to do it again. That'll be really fun. So some of our alumni babes, I don't think have done it yet. So we're going to do that. That'll be really fun. Yes. And then, dreaming is, a way that we are able to channel because we're getting out of our conscious mind. Like what we're doing in Bhava and when we run these intensives is we're helping people remember what they already know how to do, the channeling they already know how to do. But it always strikes me how very different it is for when people channel, right? How differently it comes through. Like Heather, yours is super clairvoyant. Mm-hmm. Like you have so much symbolically and imagery coming out. And it's really fun to receive messages from you because like there's a lot there, right? Mm-hmm. I get a lot of clairvoyances too, but it's also very much body based. Like I anchor into my chakras a lot, into the body a lot. And then I feel it, and then the image comes later sometimes, right? Yeah. And then what about you, Lynda? Like when you're channeling divine spirit, how does it come through you most strongly?
A lot of times I'll get images. Mm-hmm. I do get feelings, like overwhelming feelings. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I do get it body based as well. Mm-hmm. So like I've learned over the years, like if my head hurts, they're typically overthinking something. Like these are the things that I've sort of added to my they're sort of the things that I've added to my library, right? Like I know if I get really bad headache or whatever while I'm reading, then it's like, okay, you're overthinking about something or something along those lines, right? So I've learned over the years, that it's some of it's body based. There is images. I'm starting to see mouths moving, but there's nothing. I'm not hearing it yet.
Okay. You just brought up something really great though, about the different ways that we connect with spirit, like the different clairs that we have and how it comes through for us. Mm-hmm. So a lot of times when people are new to psychic development, they're like, I want to develop my clairvoyance. I don't have that. I want to develop my clairaudience. I don't have that. Dude, don't worry about what's not strong. If you focus on what's innately strong for you. So for me, empath, clairsentience and feeling and visual, very strong for me. Yeah. Clairaudience, less strong. Claircognizance, only when I'm teaching. But if you just focus on the low-hanging fruit and what's easy for you, the rest will develop on their own. Like you're describing, Lynda, your clairaudience is coming and you can see the clairaudience, right? Yeah. Visually. Yeah, the voice is coming.
And it's like, what did you say? it's kind of frustrating sometimes, like that.
I know. There was this very funny thing I saw on TikTok. It's a little hard to describe, but some medium posted it, and it was hilarious. And so it was this sound bite where it's like these echoey, like random word bits, right? Hey, right? And she's sitting there text on the screen, be like, "This is what it's like to be a psychic medium." Random shit all the time. Like, hey. I was like, so accurate.
Yes.
Sometimes.
That's why I like the dreams better, because the dreams are like, you're so in you're not in your head. You don't hear all the other things going on. It's not like you hear things, you're not smelling things or sleep. So it's like your senses are all turned off. You have
your
to
brain
focus.
is shut down. Yeah.
And so it makes it so much easier to receive a message and detail, like definite detail from different spirits that come through.
Yeah. Although, girl, the detail you bring through when you're awake too, like, it's pretty phenomenal.
It is fun. I do enjoy that. But yeah, I think it's like, it's just so different to know and to be able to like interpret it after the fact. But
yeah.
Thank
Dreams are cool. I've learned a lot about dreaming from you. The time I can remember having a prophetic dream, it was awful. It was so awful. So this was crazy though. So I had this dream one night, and it was so like, first of all, it was it was a crime being committed, right? And it was a gory one. And I saw the details of this crime being committed, but I was inside the body of the person committing it, and it was horrible. And I was like, oh my God. And in my dream, then like I was inside, I saw it happening, and I saw the person that it was happening to, and it was horrible. And then I kind of did, like, my dream did this like turning thing. And then I was in the courthouse of my local town where I was at that time, the local courthouse. And I looked up at the ceiling, and it was this mosaic. And then I heard a voice. I heard somebody say, or I heard something to the effect of, it's connected to home, but it's not happening here. It's not here. Right. And then that kind of thing. And that's what I remember. That I woke up, but it rocked me so hard because it was so vivid and it was so real. I was like, that's a real thing, you know?
Yeah.
And so I went Googling to see if I could find what happened. And what I found was a few days later, when I kept checking back on Google's, a man had been arrested in Oregon for doing what I saw to a woman who was from my town.
Oh, wow.
And it was interesting because, I mean, but I'm glad I don't have that every night, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, that would be a lot. It was just gory. And I think there must have been some transits going on that just like lit that up in me, because that's not common for me, but that was.
And you feel helpless though. Like sometimes you're just like, Spirit, why did you show me that? Like,
right. Like,
why? Like, but
yeah.
It's a good practice. It's a good practice to at least be like, maybe this is trying to teach me something, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, it definitely, I had no doubt that what I saw was real. Like, that was really happening. And that empath ability of mine, as an empath, you're really able to merge with other people's experiences.
Yeah.
And I just empathed into that person in the dream. And it was it's pretty horrific. I won't go into detail about that because
Yeah. So sad.
Yeah. But
I think sometimes we're meant to feel the emotion of the person that we're being shown, like whatever it is we're observing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's not known until later, but then at least you're like, oh, that's why I needed to understand that feeling. Cause you wouldn't understand that before. I had a dream of Nate, my hubby. His dad came to me and he literally was trying to show me in a dream what it felt to be a proud dad. And I would not know what a proud dad feels like in my existence right now.
Yeah.
And it was so crazy because every detail, I mean, down to what shoes he was wearing, what jacket he was wearing, where he was at. I described the dream to Nate in detail, and it ended up being, it was his sister's wedding. It was his sister's wedding day. And he's like, down to every detail, it was like 100% on point. So the feeling of being a proud dad was because it was her wedding day and he walked her down the aisle. And there's way more to it than that. But that feeling, whatever that emotion is, whether it's good, bad, ugly, or something beautiful, Spirit's trying to teach you something that you probably would have never felt in this existence. Unless you had that experience to.
And, you know, what a gift to be able to develop that kind of compassion.
Yeah.
You know, for anybody and everybody in the world.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Yeah, well put. Well, listen, ladies, we got a little less than 10 minutes left before the hour is up. Do we want to do some readings?
Sure.
Sure.
Yeah. Okay, so folks, if you're watching live, leave a comment and let us know if you would like a reading. And if you anchor it in with a question, that's good. We'll go ahead and answer that. Or you can just ask for a general and we'll tune in and see what comes. But this is really fun. This has been a fucking phenomenal conversation.
Yes.
It is really fun to talk about this stuff. There's so much that we cover and that we do, and like it's like Lynda and I are going to teach this 30-day program, and we're going to scratch the surface.
Mm-hmm.
like, give us a year with you. Oh man. Okay. We have some. Antonio would like a general reading. Okay. Give us a minute to tune in, Antonio. What does our beautiful Antonio need to know? I'm going to actually pull out some cards this time. Anchor this in. What does our beautiful Antonio? I'll go ahead and kick us off, ladies. Antonio. Antonio, you've got some good stuff coming in shortly. You have been in a bit of a holding pattern, like maybe a limbo period. You're kind of waiting, kind of not much is happening, or things haven't been going exactly right. Some like stops and starts, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Spirit is asking you to, your one job right now is to get into total acceptance of where you are, even for just 1 minute. Total radical acceptance of what's radical acceptance of what's not working, what is working, your frustrations. You don't have to fix anything. You don't have to feel a certain way. You just have to be where you are at. And Spirit says that when you get into total acceptance of what is right now, good, the bad, the ugly, that's when a door is going to open for you. That's when somebody's going to approach you, or an opportunity is going to approach you. And you're going to go, there it is. In fact, it's a combination. It's a person and an opportunity, a person with an opportunity that is coming towards you. It's going to make you very happy. All right. This is what I am waiting for. Finally. Yes, I want to do this. But what's blocking it is you need to get into radical acceptance for just a moment. It literally takes 1 moment of acceptance, full on acceptance, to shift, make that tiny little shift that you need to make in order to bring to you what you're needing for sustenance, right? It feels like spiritual sustenance, work sustenance, relational sustenance. Like sustenance is making its way to you. So radical acceptance, my friend. And it's a practice, but when you practice for a few days, you will get there and you will feel the acceptance of it. And then whoosh, the energy will completely shift for you. So just get into that practice, honey. Thank you, Antonio. Lynda.
So to piggyback off of what you said, I got this sense that he was holding his breath, like that his chest was tight and he was holding his breath. And I got, let it go, just let it go. And then I got a tightness in my throat, which usually means that someone's not speaking their truth. So I'm getting that you need to speak your truth more. And maybe that goes along with that does go along with what Ingrid said about radical acceptance. It's a similar, I would imagine it's a similar thing. So that's what I picked up.
Beautiful. Heather.
Yes. So I had to write it down because that's how my messages come through. So I got, you are on the right track. You have a light and sweet spirit with so much to share with those around you. Be an open vessel and realize that you are meant to help others. I also had the feeling of passing on. Remember that it's spirit that's sending the message through you, and be confident in that, because that's important. A lot of people will hold back in the spiritual community because they think it's them. But that's when we have to set ego aside and realize you're there to deliver and be a vessel for spirit and share those messages with those that are wanting to hear it from you. You are a light and meant to share that gift with others.
Beautiful. All right. Thank you, Antonio. Go ahead and let us know if that resonated with you. Okay. All right. Beautiful. Lauren. Hi, darling. Heck yeah. We'll give you a reading. tuning in for beautiful Lauren. What does our beautiful Lauren need to know? Show me, show me. My sweet love, retreat from the nonsense. You do not have to fight this. You do not need to bash your head against that wall. That is not a hill worth dying on. Let go of the fight. Retreat from toxic people. Retreat from people who want to fight you. Retreat from the conflict. We are taught that we need to, or somebody's taught that you need to like deal with conflict. You know, you need to like deal with your issues, deal with your problems. In your case, in this situation, these problems will go away when you take your energy away from it. Try it for a week, even for a day, because what's on the other side of that is money. It's money, it's value, it's worth, it's abundance, it's resources, right? There's something tangible on the other side that when you walk away from that energy, you're going to have access to everything that you need to thrive. Okay. Not just to like cover your basics, but to thrive. Your energy is being taken up by conflict and you got to let it go. If you can let it go, what you want is on the other side of that. I imagine it's quite a test for you. It feels like that's hard for you to do. But I encourage you to work at that, to work at letting it go and extracting yourself from people specifically who are just drama, who are toxic, who are high conflict. You deserve more peace than that. And you get to have it. You do not have to sacrifice your peace for other people who are high conflict. You just don't. Okay, Lynda.
So I again jumping off what Ingrid was saying, I saw you like my body was shaking and that you were looking for the calm. And then I saw you at the bottom of this hill, this grassy hill. There was mountains all around. And I saw you at the bottom of the hill being drawn to go that way. And it feels like you're going that way for other people. But the valley, what did I write? The valley's calling you. So it's almost like to keep you on the even keel, you got to walk away from the hilly grass that everybody's pulling you towards, because it feels like other people are pulling you there, but you want to go along the grass valley, like through the valley. So I hope that resonates. It's just
beautiful. Okay, Heather.
Okay, so I felt some antsy energy sort of moving around, like you have some antsy energy inside of you. And I kept hearing you are here with a purpose, or you are here for a purpose and for a true reason. Ground in, feel into your heart center and do what makes you happy and light up. Feeling that warm and fuzzy love feeling. There's something about that you should know what I mean when I say that. There's a warm and fuzzy love feeling that really makes you happy. You need to use that more and use that to find your inner peace. You are here again. You're here for a reason and you feel it strongly. So you definitely need to tap into that.
Beautiful. Lauren says, I'm not fighting with anybody, but she's just finished moving. So Lauren, I'm glad that you don't have any conflict in your life right now. But I feel like that was a theme of the reading, is like watch for other people. And so usually, like typically when something doesn't resonate right away, it will down the line. So the message for you is when conflict arises, when your energy is being sucked dry by, energy vampires or people who are in conflict and causing problems, walk away. Walk away, because you are not obligated, nor is it in your best interest to deal with that energy. Okay, folks, that's all we have time for today, readings wise. But thank you so much for this gift, right? This is so cool. We love doing this. So thank you for asking for the reading. And we'll allow more time for readings next week. So come back, okay? We're going to do this again next week. And again, if you want to learn how to do this, go to our 30 days of psychic development intensive. Me and Lynda are teaching it. It started today, but you can still get in and get the first lesson. Doors will close at the end of the day today. So let's call it midnight tonight. Okay. We're not accepting any more people tomorrow. It's $17 to spend the month with us, right? Like I worked it out. It's $56 a day. No, it's 56 cents a day. My math right? It's 56 cents a day. And it's a really cool introduction to the Bhava spiritual mission and what we teach. And our goal is to get you the foundational tools so you can take off and keep developing on your own, right? That's the goal. We're also open doors to the Bhava certification program too, if you want to go further. But this is about, right, this is about empowering you. That's what we're about here. Okay, any final words, Lynda or Heather? Do we feel complete for today?
Keep dreaming.
Yeah.
Dreaming.
I think it
Oh,
was good.
okay, great. Awesome. Well, thank you both ladies so much. I love you and I appreciate you. Thank you for everybody who jumped on live. If you're watching the replay, love you so much. Please share this with anybody who you feel would benefit from this conversation. Follow us on Facebook. Thanks all.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.